let me talk about where we're going, what we're up to today. As you know, this is the first time that we've really gotten together. We are just trying to kind of formulate what we want out of this group. And let me be the first to say, I might be the person who organized this thing and got the room and everything together, but by all means, I don't have to be the leader. If anybody wants at any point to be able to kind of organize or structure some of the meetings, please, all that you need to do is just say the word. and I will turn it over to you. Additionally, for today, I talked to a few people to get them to maybe present their courses or some other things within the group. And people are a little nervous, of course, and some people just are trying new things and they're not really wanting to show that quite yet. So if you are willing to show your course or show a use of technology in your classrooms, then just say the word and we will schedule you in. We do have some people from West who are really interested, from Ankeny who are interested, and so we'll have a lot of variety with this session. I'm hoping that it's going to keep laid back. I will have agendas planned, but I think that the best thing for our group is to just share ideas, and that is, show what we're doing, get feedback, look at our flaws, look at our successes, and just communicate those ideas as often as we possibly can. And another thing, those of you who are showing up virtually, I just hit the print screen button, and I'm going to I've emailed Jim Peavy to see if we can get CI credits for this. If we can, yay. If not, oh well, it happened. But that would be kind of my way of being able to, give you guys credit for having been here and for having participated in our group. And we should be able to have you, they're in with IQ, they're both participants and I think presenter, I think that's what they call it, links. So if you're not able to show up here, no big deal, we can have you present from wherever you are. So why don't we just introduce ourselves. Kyla, I asked them who has the webcam or who's able to, to turn that on a little bit earlier. So let me know if you have a webcam or are willing to use it. And otherwise, those of you who are remote and who are not wanting to get on camera, if you could just write a little bit of something about yourself in the text box, that would be awesome. And then we can see where are you, what do you teach, and we'll get to some of the other questions later. So right away, and I'll go ahead and start. I'm Shannon McGregor. I teach here at Urban Campus. I teach online. I teach for blended and traditionally, composition and literature. And I've been teaching online for 15 years. So I'm not new, but I still find myself going, what? Quite a bit at a time. Miss Priscilla, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Priscilla Piper, and I've been teaching Spanish and interpretation and translation. All my Spanish courses are face-to-face, and but all my ITR courses are online. So I've been, 3 years that we have been doing online all these courses.
Okay, so pretty experienced too.
More or less. I still have to learn so much to do, especially with the IQ. Now that we have been with IQ, I'm working with that, and I'm looking for more ideas that I can share with students.
Wonderful.
Especially when we are, since we are not face to face, answering questions right away is kind of, I feel that slowing down the process of learning things.
Definitely. That immediate feedback and immediate discussion.
And having the same question to everybody on the same, so it's not worth my, it's more time consuming. Having the same, if they ask the same thing, what can, every time doing the same question and answering each one of them is probably more time consuming.
Oh, definitely.
So I want to experience some new things.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming to our session. Okay. Miss Mel, would you like to talk?
Sure. I'm Mel Sadapor. I teach environmental science and ecology courses here at the urban campus. And I teach both online, web-blended, and face-to-face classes. I've been teaching online courses for, I think, around 8 years now. And I actually am just coming up a whole year where I taught entirely online, kind of an extended maternity leave sort of situation. And that went really well, but it also made me realize that there's a lot of really cool new stuff out there in the online world that, it's kind of easy once you set your courses up and you get them operational and everything seems to work well. It's kind of easy to just be complacent and leave them that way. But I think it's time that I, jump back into the development of the courses and add some new bells and whistles. That being said, I'm afraid of going too far in that direction. I don't want to get too complicated too fast. So I'm hoping that looking at some other people's classes and talking about what they're doing will give me some good ideas.
Almost definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming and for all of your experience. Will absolutely be super helpful.
You shall see.
Yeah. I'm going to scroll on up here, and those of you at remote locations, feel free to scroll around too and read everybody's description. I'll go ahead and read a couple out loud. Michael Piper says, "Hi, I'm Michael Piper. I teach interpretation and translation online and paralegal courses face-to-face, both at Urban. I'm not on campus today, which is why I'm connecting through with IQ. So thank you, Michael. You are a wealth of information. How long have you been teaching online?" Oh, I need to give a quick answer. Since 2009. Wow. Wow. So, yeah. Good experience, too. Yeah, and those of you who don't know, yes, Michael and Priscilla are married. Oh, let me pop back up here again. See what ornery thing he said afterwards. Carla, hello, I'm Carla Stevens, and I teach online site courses via the urban campus. I've taught face-to-face in the past. Carla, how long have you been teaching online, too? Quick answer, 2009 as well. All right. And you're welcome. She is gorgeous, Michael. All right.
So, I probably should move the yes.
Oh, no. Just goes to show you that we can have some personality even through the distance and no webcam, too. So welcome, Carlos. Thank you so much for joining us. Melissa, I teach psychology online at the urban campus. I live in Melbourne, Florida, beachside of Orlando. Lucky girl. I teach full-time for Eastern Florida State College and have been teaching for 7 years. Good to be here. Thank you very much for telling us how long you've been teaching online. Do you teach online for Eastern Florida too? Julie says, "Hi all, I've been teaching several lit sections online for 3 years. This term I have 2 sections of children's lit and 1 of major British authors. I've taught humor lit twice. I love teaching online. I taught for decades in DMAT classrooms, urban, Ankeny, lit comp and humanities." Thank you, Julie, so much for joining us. And let me just put a plug in. Julie, we also have an English online group that meets, and we do with IQ too. So if you're interested in getting into that group as well, just give me an email and I'll include you in our emails. Since 2007, says Melissa. Thank you so much. Let me get some impressions or some... I want it to be about us. I don't want it to be about what Shannon thinks we need to learn today or what one particular person wants to talk about or show. So if you could think about what you would like to learn from our session, what is the most important thing? Think about that for a second. One of the things that I did when we were first starting to form the group is actually gave a survey. And I know some of you filled these out, but I kept them anonymous. These are some of the topics that are on your screen now that people said that they would like to address. Is there anything that's on here that is not on here that you'd like to add to the group? Wikis are web pages online where you can add to and change things. It's really good for group work. It's good for an individual person to be able to post like to post a page and then have people even comment in or change it if you want to. You've used them, haven't you, Mel?
I have not.
Not yet. Nope, not yet. Okay.
It's similar to with IQ that you can do the video, but at the same time you have the screen and where you can place things in there, like other documents, and some people can get comments about it.
More like Wikipedia, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So more of a static web page that people can go in and make make
like
changes.
Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that's something that you would do in your classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't used it yet, but I have some ideas for it. And part of it's based off of a presentation that Michael gave last year with constructivism and poetry. I've actually built the assignment. I haven't been brave enough to test it yet. So next time I teach lit, ta-da. So Carla says how to incorporate different technology into my courses to enhance learning. Michael says I want to learn or explore two things, not necessarily today. Improving student engagement, hurrah, yes. Developing a blended concept where everything is online, both the asynchronous part, like we already do, and the synchronous. And you are not alone with that, Michael. Susan Mitchell has been talking about that. How do we make that synchronous existence online a more important part of class? And she has a lot of really neat things that she's exploring with that. Maybe I can have her talk one time. Julie, some show and tell sessions, instructors sharing their courses, an overview, more than topical, I'm proud of. So good. That's awesome that people are seeing that this does capture a lot of what we want to do. I will say that the best part of the English Online group has been when we get to see each other's classes. Nicole Vogler showed her Lit and Comp classes last week at our English Online meeting, and all of us were sitting there writing and just thinking and writing and thinking, just all the new ideas that we got just based upon just showing us those classes for about 10 minutes. It was phenomenal. She is an organizational guru. Every time.
Like share writing?
Yeah.
More like share writing.
Yeah, she did. She showed us her writing classes, and she showed us her lit classes, both traditional and online. And just to see her organizational pattern within her course, oh my goodness, all of us left there just thinking, I need to change this, I need to change that. We had a list of 3 or 4 things once we left. So, yeah, thank you, Julie. It's a good group if you want to join us, for sure. Okay, well that helps me, and the order of these things is in the order that I kind of want to address them. If there's something on here that you'd like to see sooner, let me know. And the only thing that I have to say is, since I put this list together, I have been made aware that proctoring questions are a big question across disciplines. So the next meeting, I'm thinking that we'll meet again in June, and have some of the people who are doing some proctoring actually talk and lead the meeting. Because there's a question about, are we allowed to do proctoring? Are the testing centers well equipped enough? Do things like lockdown browser really work well to make sure that the students are not cheating? So we'll probably start there and then go to some of those peer-to-peer interactions and student engagement questions, like Michael put on the top of his list there too. You are exactly right. Michael, the need for proctoring can be reduced if you incorporate authentic assessment activities as your assignment. Can you elaborate? What does authentic assessment activity mean? What does that mean to you? What is authentic assessment?
My boss says it's not like it.
And one of the comments that we were making in our English Online group that so many of us, of course, we're all writing these. And so most of us do a lot of discussion and a lot of paper writing, but we don't really diversify our assessment methods. That's one idea is, not all students are really good at writing. Some students, if you give them a multiple choice exam or partial multiple choice and partial essay, they will find the answers a little bit better than just doing one method alone.
Yeah, but authentic assessment is much more related to personal experiences.
So that it's not.
They reflect on writing reflections, like Michael is talking right there.
Yeah.
Is reflection. Reflections, that's what we probably are doing most of the time. But it's mainly related to you, your own experiences. So nobody can cheat.
You can't copy and paste an answer and make it sound really like
But at the same time, they can get ideas from each other on the discussion boards.
That's awesome. That is awesome. They do, I like your, for example, in my ITR courses, students do a lot of journaling and writing reflections, which are very individual specific.
Mm-hmm.
They do a learning portfolio where they choose research topics, find artifacts that relate to their research topics. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They can record and upload their work, such as oral interpretation, and you know it's them speaking. It's good. And that oral interpretation component is very important too. The Higher Education Act that came out, when it was reactivated in 2008, they were talking back then about requiring that we check students' IDs, that, you know, if we do have a webcam, that we actually have the students get online and show those at the time to make sure that it is a student who's on the ID. And so being able to do something, a quick shot like that or a quick interaction like that, and then in addition to be able to do the more personalized assignments, besides just doing some multiple choice quizzes and those kinds of things, can certainly reduces it. They're not willing to put their face on camera and have that recorded.
I would love to see examples, if anybody's willing to share, of the kind of assessment assignments that you were talking about with like journaling and personal reflection.
So let's add that into here.
Great, thanks, Michael.
What do you say?
He would be willing to share at a later date some things from his ICR 101.
Awesome.
And I also have the portfolios. I can show you the portfolios.
Yeah, that would be great.
That we do.
I'm not sure
that's what I was
to
doing.
structure that sort of assignment, and I'd be thrilled to look at what other people are doing, especially if they're working well.
Mm-hmm. Very good, and they are very excited about it. Good. About doing portfolios.
They do a lot of journaling in some of my courses, but I'm not sure they're set up in the best possible way. So let me see other examples.
Okay. Yeah, and Michael, we will definitely get you in to show your portfolios and journals, but also the testing out of team-based learning in an online environment was something that I know that you're experimenting with, and as you're comfortable with that, maybe in the fall, maybe we can get you to show us what you're doing there. What kinds of feedback do you offer students? You have these assignments, whether it's discussion, whether it's quizzing, whether it's journaling or portfolio work. How do you give your students feedback?
What we have been doing in our classes is that we always send out questions for the interacting after the reading. They have specific questions, and so they are interacting. In some way, they sometimes help each other more than even when we get into in the chat. They have already answered their own questions.
Oh, really?
And they place their own questions when they are working on their reflections. They do the reading, and then the reflection. The questions are based on the reading, and then they interact. When they have their reflection to send to the assignment, I read it, and then I write notes. And I say, I like your reflection on this, make sure you understand this, or make sure, so I make feedback right there when they are sending their reports or whatever.
Okay.
But sometimes I interrupt the chats. If the chats are going something wrong, I go and no, this is wrong, or you are going on the wrong track.
Okay. And when you say chats, do you mean discussion boards?
Discussion boards.
Okay.
That's where
Okay. Because we could certainly do that with IQ, through chat rooms, and another method like that too, if we were
Yeah, we
doing it
can.
synchronous.
Usually my students show up online on my virtual hours when they have a question that they haven't been answered on the chat, on the discussion boards.
So it's more office hour type interactions there as opposed to classroom interactions. Okay?
But sometimes, most of the time, they answer their own questions with each other when they have questions.
I rely heavily upon that, them answering each other's questions and correcting them. And too often, they are so nice at the beginning of the semester. I'm like, no, you need to disagree. You need to start saying, well, I understand this way, but there, I took it this way instead, and start elaborating upon those ideas. And so, yeah, when they're trying to be too nice to each other, I call them on it.
Right. We have a kind of a rubric for the interaction. Like we have certain points just to answer the question for the reflection, and then you receive a certain amount of points if you answer to somebody, and we say there, just don't agree with. You have to tell why did you agree with that person in that rubric. In the rubric is that what we put.
So Nicole Foco just joined us here in the classroom. And I'm going to focus on Melissa's comments here for a second, because I know she's been clarifying some things too. Melissa says, I do a virtual field trip, but I wonder if there's a better method for delivering it.
And I'd be very, very interested in seeing that, because I have a lab course that is entirely virtual field trips, and I'm sure that there's a better way for me to deliver those. So I would love to see what you're doing.
But what you do with that?
Yeah, so Melissa and Mel, get in contact by email. For sure, but we will write that down.
But you want to learn more about how you do it.
From the group, yes.
Sure. Can you all hear me?
Yep, beautifully.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much. It's one of those things where you do the same thing year after year. You do little tweaks, and you just want to get some feedback, which is why this opportunity is absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you guys for thinking of it. I think it'll be helpful. But just real quick, so I do a virtual field trip. I do 3 of them, and I teach psychology, but I blend psychology with more of a interdisciplinary field to it, where I'm connecting them with human services and social work as well, because all 3 of those disciplines work together. And one of the field trips that we visit, one of the places we go is to a human service agency. We also go to Mercy Hospital, to the prenatal unit, and they do research and get data and information about what happens in the NICU, what happens with birth and delivery, what kind of things they see. It's when we go into my classroom, whenever you guys would like me to present, I can show you the different places that they can see and the different questions that I ask. And then the last place we go is to some sort of psychology practice, whether it's a counseling center or a private practice. And that way they can see every aspect of psychology from a professional standpoint, and they can get a sense of what type of jobs are available for them. And a lot of people are surprised with the different things that are out there. And so that's why I come from that approach. Is that helpful?
So how are your virtual field trips set up? Is it like a worksheet where you guide them to different websites and then you ask them questions, or how do you organize it?
I'm asking them questions about where they're going, what they're seeing, how it's helpful to them, how it relates to the class, how it might apply to things that they're doing or things that they've gone through. And it's basically just text and a web link for them to go to. So with the scavenger hunts, it's the same type of things where I'm, number one, helping them understand different ways to research, which is a big part of a psychology APA type class. So I'm sending them out into the web and I'm telling them to look for certain things. So step 1 is understanding what the APA.org website represents. And you guys can kind of connect this with your discipline and kind of substitute things out. And so that's step 1 in the scavenger hunt. Step 2, in order for you to go from step 1 to step 2, you have to have you have to already know how to do those things. So step 2 is being able to talk about what you saw on the apa.org website. What does it mean to you? How does it relate to you? And why is it important for this class? Once you have that, you have the ticket to the next part of the scavenger hunt, which is being able to understand how to cite something correctly. So I have them cite their textbook, and then I have them show me how to do an in-text citation from that. Another part of that is, with most of you know, there's EBSCO, there's PsycInfo, there's articles. I have them get a library card and show me proof that they've gotten their library card from the librarian. And once they have that library card, they're able to go out to the electronic database, because we don't go to physical libraries when you teach online. So they're actually going electronically to the library, and they're pulling an EBSCO article. They're pasting and attaching that article, and then there's certain things within that article that they've already learned at step 1 of the scavenger hunt that really helps them understand, okay, this is where the title is, this is what an abstract is, and I'm actually having them highlight it and put notes on the side, which is teaching them another aspect of editing via Microsoft Word. And so they're breaking down each aspect of it, so that way when we get to the research paper, they not only know where to find their data, but they know how to understand and read their data, because I'm asking them for 5 references or more, which for some of them, reading an entire, peer-reviewed article can take hours for them to understand and go through the data. But if I'm showing them how to break down each and every aspect of that, it just makes it a lot more simple for them, and a lot less anxiety about reading a really heady article.
Melissa, bless your heart, thank you so much for describing this. Next, I will be in contact with you to set up a time when you want to maybe go ahead and present information. So thank you so much. That is a really good assignment, especially with that scavenger hunt. Especially that you use the library databases. Go back up here to some of the other suggestions. Julie, you commented on, I ring in on weekly discussions over reading, about midweek and the end of the week. And do comments on each privately in the Grade Center. And one discussion forum stays open all term on the opening page of the course content for all questions of general interest. Also, I comment on their individual blogs 3 times a term. Let me ask you guys, who uses discussion and discussion postings? Do you hop in there and comment on them, or do you tend to send more private messages either through email or through the gradebook, or a little bit of both?
Sometimes if I see that the discussions are going in the wrong place, the wrong way, I do go and make a comment, or no, this probably should look for this instead of this, or say something. But when they are doing the reflections, then I write personally.
Okay.
I will often find in discussions that I don't know if they feed off of each other or if there are just these common misconceptions or concepts that they're missing, but there do tend to be, and they're actually fairly consistent term to term, consistent misunderstandings within certain discussions. And in that case, rather than get into the discussion myself, because I know a lot of times students, once they post their comments, they may not go back to that.
That's the thing.
I'll post a class announcement that says, I was just looking at the discussion, and I saw that a bunch of you thought, the nitrates in our water come from the fact that we eat so much lunch meat. And then I will set them straight as a group, just because I know, a lot of them are done with the discussion the minute they're done typing. So, and I actually have a few preset announcements of that nature that I have them already in there, and then I decide whether or not I'm going to post them and actually send them out, because, like I said, there are consistent misunderstandings from semester to semester, and no matter what I do, I can't seem to nip them in the bud ahead of time. So,
all concepts?
yes, there's just certain concepts that everybody misunderstands no matter how I present it. It's just kind of like a societal belief or something. A lot of them are kind of controversial issues.
Joel and I were talking about that this morning, that it's like, oh my gosh, we taught these classes how many times in a row, and how often are we just copying and pasting the same comments over from semester to semester so frequently.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who has to do that.
Commiseration is part of our goal here as a part of this group.
But it's interesting that every year the groups change, and the atmosphere changes everything. The way you do, depending on who. Because I have more students who have more experience on interpretation and translation, and that changes everything.
Yes, yes. It is neat how the rhythms go with our students, whether it's in class or it is online. And so often we do find ourselves making the same comments. But it's funny how the dynamics just them understanding or learning to read your comments in the grade book. Oh my goodness. Let's make a video for showing them how to read the comments in the grade book, or give them guidelines. Julie has made another interesting follow-up on the discussion board. She says, regarding discussion, I have found that the option that students must post initially before seeing the others helps with them owning the conversational notions. That is so true. How many of you use that? You can't see what others have posted until you actually post into the discussion board?
I do. This is the first semester I've been using it, and it does seem to help quite a bit.
I don't understand.
They can't, so if you ask a discussion question, they can't see what other students have written until they post their own response to the question. So they can't just read what other students have said and then type the same thing. They have to come up with their own idea first, and then they can see what their classmates have said.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fairly new option, or I just noticed it for the first time.
This fall when we had learned.
I'm sure you can do that.
And then when you set up your discussions, you can click on that.
And I want to say, hey Polly, welcome to the group. It's good to have you online here. As you can see, we've been chatting away and have a couple of questions on feedback going here. So thanks for joining us. We just had Melissa Patton discuss that she has students go in and use the library databases to find journal articles and dissect those articles online. So you just got some support, girl. Nicole, how do you use discussion?
I tend to have them post. They have to post their own, thread before they can answer or respond to other students, and that works pretty well, unless it's something like they have to choose from a list of poems, and then you have 15 threads that are all of the exact same poem.
Yeah.
And nobody chose the others. But for the most part, it works pretty well. And I find that when I'm doing giving feedback, usually I'm just asking more questions. So, I'll jump in, and if I find that they're stalling out in their conversation, I'll start asking some questions to try to, get the discussion going in a way I think it'll be a little bit more profitable. And then I'll write comments in the grade center individually, kind of critiquing their the quality or the depth of their, contribution. But those are just private.
And I think that's something that we do in our traditional classrooms, just off the cuff and as a part of our normal everyday interaction. But, we actually have to make a decision, a conscious decision to go in there and to kind of curve or direct. I found over the years, I hardly ever comment on the discussion board. And it's because the minute that I throw out an idea to them, all of their responses are now revolving around the brilliant idea that the instructor had. It's like, no, I want you guys to think my ideas are not brilliant. Use it as a, thank you for another idea or another connection that you can make. So I kind of do veiled questions, very, very veiled questions that hopefully they're thinking, boy, that was vague. I wonder what she's getting at. And then they come up with better answers sometimes. Because if I just go in and I just start talking about it, no, it's over with. Oh, do you really think Sunny is the protagonist in this, or do you think it is the brother, or who? If they've gotten that kind of mixed up, then when I do some questions that are too specific, it just goes haywire. Well, this is wonderful. We to be focused upon actually discussion, which I think is really a neat perspective because so often online training focuses around testing and multiple choice stuff, and we don't always get the importance across the students about what discussion really does for us. In your writing notes, the option, thank you, yes. Thank you so much for your precision there, Julie. That I was going to have to go look that up, so you just saved me some time.
So you there is a place that you can say cannot read for until others have posted.
Yes. And those of you who are off campus, I'm sorry you won't be able to see this, but I wanted to go in to my practice course and actually show Priscilla where that is. I'm clicking into and editing my discussion board. Here it is. Participants must create a thread in order to view the thread in this forum, so they can't actually see the other ones until they actually make their own.
Did you have limited time, or you have to go and open it to them?
Well, I don't think it will open at all until they actually do their assignment. They actually post their assignment in there.
So automatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When they post it, it pops open for them.
Do not participate for that specific assignment.
Mm-hmm.
You probably won't open to the rest. If only one student is missing and hasn't been able to get into the
It's individual. It's based on individual. So,
but I mean, it is open after everybody has done their own opinion.
no. After a student has posted their own opinion, they can then go back in and access other students' opinions. It's all individual based, so the whole class doesn't have to wait for everybody. It's just you. So they could, if they wanted to cheat, they could just go in and post like "hello," and then they could open it up and read everybody else's. But I haven't seen anybody try that.
It would be interesting to try.
Yeah, and just to see, because some students will never even see whether there is anything in the discussion board. Some will assume that there's nothing in there for a while, and then once they post, then they magically see everything light up. And it's like, I should have been doing this all along, but but at the same time, then it keeps them from copying each other.
One of my students completely copy and paste. Obviously.
Plagiarism.
Yeah.
Well, after they do it, I feel like once they figure out how the thread works, it helps them really up their game for the next time. Because I had students who posted something that was really vague and it was too short, and and then they got into the discussion board because they hadn't seen everyone else's first, and then they realized how bad their posting looked compared to everyone else who actually answered all the questions. And, they said, I really wish I could go back, and I feel embarrassed. And then the next time we did a much better job. So it was good and
And students improve by doing that.
Oh, definitely. I've added one of my own because it's been something that I've been debating whether to do or not. I have so much discussion in literature that I think that if I did a rubric per thread, I would be going insane if I had graded all of that so individually. But that's what I'm doing right now, just not using formal rubric. So what my experiment is going to be for the fall is I'm going to tie rubrics into each of my discussion boards so that I can actually have those characteristics show up for the students and they can kind of see where they are all semester long. Because what I am doing right now is just typing comments. Yeah, either the same comment or a similar comment, and then inserting their specific sentences. And for example, one of the problems that I have early on in literature is that they are willing to make a point, give a quote, and call it quits. They never analyze. They never get to that point of actually doing the analysis. And so I will write them questions and how and why. I'll take their quote, their thesis and their quote, and then start asking them questions. I said, I might answer it this way. It takes forever and a day to do that. But I'm thinking I could do more of that if I use the rubric to get the basics of you didn't meet the minimum requirements of the posting. The rubric is now only in the syllabus. It's not actually integrated into the threads of the discussion board. So I'm just thinking about merging those two and then testing and seeing kind of how it goes.
So would you still leave comments then for them individually, or would you just kind of click boxes in the rubric?
Primarily click boxes and then make comments that are aimed at a specific posting. But yeah, using it definitely is in a combination of the two. I think I could make better comments if I weren't doing the same thing over and over and over again. If they saw an A, B, C, D, F scale, I'm not meeting the requirements here, but my grammar's really good. So, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
But
you can just check in, check it out, and see what they're doing wrong.
Yes, yeah. And so, yeah, that combines a little bit more of the quantitative feedback as well as the qualitative feedback in a way that won't keep me doing it forever and a day. I hope I do it. So I'll let you know how that goes, but it won't be till next week.
Do we have rubrics on our list of?
And if not, I meant to put it there, but hey, good thinking. We should. So, rubrics.
Yeah, we do a lot of rubrics, so it should help to improve them and make them more
Visible, for sure for the students. User-friendly.
But it is true, it's better to make the comments right there in the rubric, just to check it out, and I haven't, hasn't occurred to me.
Well, I use Blackboard's Turnitin, and if you all did not know that Blackboard now does have Turnitin integrated, I have a guide on my website, my instructor website, if you want to copy down that link. Yeah, that's the screen capture that I uploaded. But yeah, if you go to my instructor site, and on the left-hand side, there's a Turnitin guide that you are more than welcome to use with student videos in your classes. You are more than welcome to follow the instructor guide link. And I actually created some videos to show you how to integrate Turnitin into your classroom. I about just wet my britches earlier this semester. Here's me being very informal and giddy. I did. We were talking about Turnitin in one of our English Online group meetings, and I was like, I'm not doing rubrics yet. I'm not doing. And then like a week or two later, I started using them with Turnitin. And oh my goodness, it is so good. So that is going to be one of the sessions I want to talk about with cheating with Turnitin. But really, you can do any assignments through Turnitin that are paper assignments or, just even presentations. You can have students upload their assignments there. And then you can use these preloaded comments that you have created and that Turnitin also offers, which I'm not crazy about Turnitin. Yeah, I've got all of mine loaded that are specific to the assignment. But you can click, pull, and drag some of those comments over, and you can use a rubric that you create as well, and then you can tie those comments into the rubric. So if there are lots of grammar issues, it's showing up in a number on your rubric on how many mistakes that student's made or how many times you had to comment about certain things. And it does that through any of the areas that you put into your rubric. It's very fascinating. And again, has that benefit of the qualitative and the quantitative because you can make the comments right there in the papers too. If you want to test that out, just go to the website to set up a Turnitin box in one of your sample classes and then tweak and email me anytime if you want to know more about it before we actually have other resources for it. Michael says rubrics are good, but they're not that easy to use in Blackboard. What is the biggest struggling point for using them in Blackboard for you? And then he also asked, does Turnitin take our students' assignments and use them to create a database to check for future plagiarism? Yes, sir, it does. That is actually a wonderful tool with it. And to be honest, since I've been using Turnitin in any of my classes or when I was using Save the Sign, I found myself addressing issues of plagiarism far less often because I knew that I was checking. It's like this consciousness that's there. It's not a paranoia by any means, but it's a consciousness that she is watching for plagiarism, so I need to make sure that I'm carefully watching too. Creates a better dialogue between the students, I found.